Percy the Small Engine is known for doing odd jobs. From shunting trucks and coaches to delivering the midnight mail train, he is always working hard. It was the beginning of the busy summer season, and Percy was beginning to feel hot again. However, Percy wasn't the only one hot. Wherever he went, people were bothered because of the heat. Most people would go to the ice cream truck and get an ice cream or a lolly. However, the ice cream truck had broken down, and they were still looking for a new one. "I feel bad for those poor people," said Percy, "waiting without water or something cool. I want to find a way to help them." "There's not much you can do other than wait for a new ice cream truck to come and cheer everyone up," said Thomas. "I don't know, Percy," said Toby. "Maybe you could think of something." But Percy didn't have any good ideas. He thought about it while pulling the mail that morning, pulling trucks. When he shunted, still nothing came to mind. "I give up. It seems I can't think of anything good." Percy looked towards the platform of coaches. Then, "I've got it!" And Percy rushed to tell Sir Topham Hatt. "Sir, please, sir, I have a great idea," he called. "Calm down, Percy. Tell me slowly." "I was thinking, sir, since people are so hot, sir, maybe we could turn one of our coaches, sir, into an ice cream coach. It's like an ice cream truck, sir, but it runs on rails." "It's a good idea, Percy, but we can't use any coaches currently. The express is packed as it is, and we need more coaches. Until you can find one we can use, I can't help you." "Bother," said his stout Percy, and went to go collect his next train. Percy arrived at the works, and there he saw a face he hadn't seen in a very long time. "Hello again, Percy." "Coach! So good to see you. I thought you were staying as a hut for the workmen." "I was, but the new hut was finished, so now I don't have a purpose. It's boring sitting around. I want to be useful again." Then it hit Percy. "You're it!" "I'm what it?" "You're the coach we could use for the ice cream coach. I'll tell Sir Topham Hatt." "Well, here he is. I see you found the coach." "Yes, sir. Since Old Slow Coach doesn't have that much of a use anymore, we could use her for the ice cream coach." "Well done, Percy. I shall make the arrangements right away." After a little bit of work, Old Slow Coach was ready to be an ice cream coach. Percy pulled coach and a refrigerated van all around the island, giving ice cream, cold drinks, and other delights to people wandering around Sodor. Percy is proud of the job and is very happy that Old Slow Coach was once again useful. Philip was working hard in the yard. He was working by himself, as he usually did, and had gotten used to this. He had to work by himself because the Fat Controller still had to get him full-time help in the yards. The shunters before, Rosie and Stanley, were busy with new tasks. Philip was able to get temporary help from engines like Percy and Fergus, but Philip was still being tired out. The Fat Controller had finally been able to buy new engines for the yards, 3 to be exact. He was excited to tell Philip the news. "I'm pleased to say that I've been able to purchase 3 new shunters for you. Your work in the yard should be lighter now. However, one comes tomorrow, the other comes the following week. Please give the new engine a warm welcome." "Yes, sir. Oh, thank you, sir," Philip cried. Philip was up bright and early the next morning and in the yards waiting for the new engine. Suddenly, he heard an unfamiliar whistle. Puffing into the yards was a dark green engine with 6 driving wheels and an odd shape. "Hello, I'm Hunter. It's nice to meet you." "Hello, Hunter. I'm Philip. Nice to meet you. I'm so glad you're here. Ever since the other 2 shunters left the yards, the workload has been too much for me. Come on, let's get started." And the 2 got straight to work. Hunter was a quick learner and was a great help to the yard. He was quite strong too and could shut many trucks together. Big engine looked impressed. "He swanks about showing off," complained Gordon. "I agree," added James. "James," retorted Henry, "you really shouldn't say something like that. You know, you're like that with your red paint." "Shut up, Henry!" However, their attitudes changed when Hunter did something unbelievable. One day, Gordon was going to pull the express. The guard's whistle blew, and he set off. But then, he suddenly stopped, and steam seemed to billow everywhere. "That's torn it. Your injector has failed. You won't be pulling the express now." But now there was another problem. There was no big enough engine to shunt him away. That's when Hunter stood in. "I could do it." The yard manager, a bit hesitant, arranged for it. Hunter buffered up to Gordon and showed his strength off. He pulled Gordon all the way to a set of points. And pushed him all the way to tip of the sheds. "Goodness, Hunter, I didn't know that was your strength." "I've shunted heavier trains, so your weight was nothing." "Good work, Hunter," said the Fat Controller. "But now we have another problem. There is no other engine currently available to take the express. James can take it, but he will be at Wellsworth. We need another engine to take it. However, I'm not so certain of you and your strength. The express needs more than one engine." "Oh, I know. What about Philip? He and I could double-head the train." "Then it's settled. You'll take it all the way to Wellsworth. James will meet you there." Soon Hunter and Philip were coupled to the express. The guard's whistle blew, and Hunter and Philip pulled the heavy coaches. It was quite a fun journey, but a little hard. The express was packed today, and the engines needed to put all their effort into the train. Come along, sang Hunter. "Don't fret, I'm coming, don't fret, I'm coming," sang Philip. Soon enough, Wellsworth arrived, and the 2 engines stopped at the platform, a tad early. "My, you're better than any of us thought." "Thanks, but well, you should take the train now. It's too much for us now." So James took the train the rest of the way. Sir Topham Hatt, who was on board the train, came to congratulate the 2 little engines. "I'm very pleased with both of you. You have shown immense strength and power. You 2 should be very proud." "Thank you, sir. It just seems like my life on Sodor started, but it's definitely an interesting one." Hunter now works in the yard shunting trains for the other engines. The other 2 shunters arrived later on, but I mustn't say more or I will spoil another story. Gordon is an express engine. He puffs fast down the main line, pulling his express train. He is proud of his job and thinks he is the most important engine on the main line. He finds branch lines vulgar because of this, and boasts about it too. I am the pride of the main line. You wouldn't seen me on a teensy little branch line. Well, Bilko has seen you on mine, said Edward. That was ages ago, retorted Gordon. Anyway, you don't see me on branch lines today. I'm always a sight on the main line. Well, have you ever thought about coming to our line? Asked Duck. It's lovely there. Seaside town, beachfront view. Huh! Visit your line? You'd never see me on your silly little beach branch line. Besides, all you do there is probably soak up the sun. This made Duck feel offended. The next morning, Gordon puffed into the station, only to find Henry at the front of the express. Henry, what are you doing at my platform? I'm pulling the express today. But I'm scheduled to pull it. Not today, boomed a voice. There stood Sir Topham Hatt. Duck has told me what you said about his branch line, and was very offended by it. I do not let engines make rude remarks about other people's pride. Therefore, as punishment, you will be working on Duck's branch line for 2 whole weeks. But, sir, No buts, Gordon. It is already too late for that. You shall start by pulling a goods train along the line. On the way to the station, Gordon was very cross. He grumbled that he couldn't pull the express, he grumbled that he had to pull trucks, and most of all, he grumbled about being on a branch line. Oh, hello, Gordon. Enjoyed the view along the way? Of course I didn't. It's a branch line after all. Smart up, Gordon. You're being very annoying right now, and not behaving like a mainline engine should. Aye, I can agree, said Donald. I should just behave, or Sir Topham Hatt will find out. Gordon didn't listen. His next assignment was pulling a ballast train to the harbor. He was still unhappy. His unhappiness distracted him, however, and he didn't see the danger on the track. Oh no! Luckily, no one was hurt, but Gordon laid on the beach. You silly engine, said his driver. If you were paying attention, none of this would have happened. Please, Gordon said, go get some help. So Gordon's crew went for help. Gordon sat all alone. He wasn't enjoying himself. Where is my crew? It's been ages. So Gordon waited and waited longer. As he did, he realized something. He was enjoying the beach. He enjoyed the scenery, the sand, the ocean. It was wonderful. Maybe this place isn't as bad as I thought. Soon Duck arrived with the breakdown train. Sir Topham Hatt was on board. Oh, I thought this would happen. I am very disappointed, Gordon. You've only dug yourself in a deeper hole. I will... Sir, interrupted Gordon. I'm sorry. Please. I'll try my hardest. Sitting here is all I need to realize this branch line is more than I thought. Duck, I apologize for my remarks. They were very offensive, and I realize that now. I know that you're proud of your branch line, as I'm proud of the Express. I hope that you can forgive me. Well, Duck? Asked Sir Topham Hatt. We accept your apology, Gordon, but please be nice to me and the others. Trust me. I promise you I will. Splendid, said Sir Topham Hatt. After you've visited the works, you will come back here. We need to get some sand out of your wheels. After visiting the works for a quick clean-out, Gordon was back in service on the branch line. He did his work with no fuss. Gordon was happy to return to the main line, but he was also happy that he had had a little vacation.
One day, Sonny was getting some goods from Brendam Docks. He was waiting for a ship to come in. At last, a little tugboat came along with it, and the cranes got to unloading. The little tugboat was eager to talk. "You getting something off this ship?"
"Yes, I am. I don't really know what it is, but I know it's going to be really helpful."
"That's nice. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't introduce myself. I'm Theodore. I'm the new harbor tug."
"I'm Sonny. It's nice to meet you. You're definitely not around from England. Where are you from?"
"I'm from Canada, all the way in Big Harbor."
"Wow, Canada's a long way for a tugboat."
"You could say that again. It was quite a long way to be able to get here."
"So how'd you wound up on Sodor?"
"Your dockmaster bought me after I wasn't needed anymore, so now I work here."
"That's nice. Well, I hope to see you around. I've got to go now."
"All right, see ya." And Sonny puffed away, knowing a new friend. The little tugboat did wonders for the docks. Having an extra hand for the ships was a lifesaver, and the engines appreciated his help for his quick work. However, a storm was brewing, and the next day it hit Sodor. The engines and boats had to be careful at the docks. All the boats were tied up because the waves were quite big, and they didn't want anything to float away. Theodore was one of them. He was talking with Sonny and Edward, who were waiting at the docks because parts of Edward's branch line had been flooded, and it wasn't safe to go on.
"I hate this weather, you know. For sure, doesn't keep us busy."
"Same thing here. They said the weather was going to calm down tomorrow."
"That's a relief."
But as the three friends were talking, an incident was waiting to occur. Bulstrode the barge was tied up waiting to go back to the wharf the next day. What happens next, no one knows. Maybe the rope hadn't been tied up properly, or maybe the waves had something to do with it. Whatever it was, he was swept away by the strong current and went out to sea. "Help!" cried Bulstrode. The others were surprised by the sudden situation, but Theodore was ready to jump into action.
"Untie me!" he shouted to someone, "and get me to that barge." "Are you sure it's safe?"
"Yes, the waves are terrible."
"I need to save this barge, though."
Once the rope was undone, Theodore struggled out to sea. Soon Theodore arrived, and waves were worse. Bulstrode was hoping he wouldn't sink as water splashed into his hull.
"Don't panic. I'll try to tie you up the best as I can. Then we'll get you to shore."
A man who had bravely come with Theodore tied a knot between the two. Then Theodore tugged at him. He slowly started to move along the water. Bulstrode was a heavy barge and was hard to move without pushing it, but Theodore was determined. Suddenly, the engine saw a huge wave coming for Theodore.
"Theodore, look out!"
Theodore was now aware of the wave. He decided to make a risky move.
"Hold on, Bulstrode. It's gonna be a ride."
The waves swept the two boats floating up high, and they crashed onto land. When the wave was over, everyone was drenched. Theodore laughed. "I wanted to rescue the barge and take him to shore, but I didn't mean this shore." Everyone laughed. When the storm cleared, Sir Topham Hatt and the dock manager visited the scene. "Theodore," said the dock manager sternly, "I'm very pleased that you went and rescued Bulstrode, but you went out at a dangerous time. I want you to know that it's absolutely unsafe to do what you did, and that Bulstrode could have just strolled onto a shore." "Yes, sir, I understand. I just was trying to do the right thing." "Good, that's settled." For a while, Theodore's heroic actions were the talk of the docks. When Theodore was launched back into water, he was given a hero's welcome. Theodore still works at Brendam Docks, and to this day, he still loves telling the story of a brave little ship who went out to rescue a barge. Hunter had been getting used to his new railway. He had settled in well with Philip in the yards. Soon, however, they felt the strain as more goods were coming in and out of the railway. Sir Topham Hatt had ordered 2 other engines, and soon they arrived. Philip and Hunter, I understand your feelings on the current situation of the yards. And finally, the other 2 engines I ordered arrived. Meet Jinty and Pug.
Hello, how's it going, lads? I'm Jinty.
And I'm Pug. Nice to meet y'all.
Hello, Jinty and Pug. My name's Philip, and this is Hunter. Introduce yourself, Hunter. Hunter?
I have a train I need to shunt. Good to see you. And Hunter puffed away.
He's not usually like that, said Philip, worried. Don't worry about it. He should warm up to you.
As Philip went towards Hunter, he heard him say, "Not Jinty and Pug."
Why? What's the matter?
I've known them before coming to this railway. I'll tell you the story. Long ago, when British Railways took over the railway, I was working at a quay. It was a small town site with lots to do, but we needed some tank engines for the job, so the dock manager purchased Jinty and Pug from British Rails. When they arrived, they had just come from here, Sodor. They talked about it endlessly, and how they got to meet such famous engines. I was a bit jealous because Thomas was a favourite story my driver read to me sometimes before he went home. Pug was very nice. He always said hello to me and helped me out when I needed it. Jinty, however, was snooty and rude. He went on and on about how he got to meet the 8 famous engines and how he could be in a book someday. I was tired of it, and the situation escalated one summer morning. Jinty was taking some smart new coaches that had just been unloaded. However, he didn't see me. I was backing into the shed for a rest. Well, I didn't see him, but then everything just seemed to happen at once. After the crash, Jinty was furious. "What were you thinking?" he asked. "These smart new coaches are ruined now, and they have a dent thanks to your stupid clumsiness." I retorted, "Me? You probably were caught up with those silly coaches that you didn't look where you were going. You LMS engines are all the same, always making up conclusions and boasting every chance you get." At that moment, Pug came to see what the commotion was about and was furious with what I said. The manager was furious with me too, and said when I got out of the works, I wouldn't be allowed back. He was with his word. When I arrived back, I was sent to the yards and was about to be scrapped, until a private owner bought me, one of my brothers, and my sisters. He sent me over here because he wanted me to have a fresh start. I'd take responsibility for my actions, and I just didn't think that Jinty and Pug would be in my life again. I hope that they will forgive me. Hunter didn't know Philip was impressionable, and that when he heard the story, he was fuming. "I'll teach those idiots a lesson," he said. Hunter was surprised. "Philip, wait! You're gonna make the situation worse!" But Philip had already gone away. Jinty and Pug were resting and waiting to start work when Philip came up to him. "Hello again. Jinty, is it?" "Yes, hello, Philip. Anything the matter?" "Well, the thing that is the matter is you framed Hunter! This'll teach you a lesson!" Philip rammed into Jinty and pushed him off the tracks and onto his side. "Dude, what the heck? You don't just do that to engines you get into, no? You did this. You framed Hunter. I hope you don't do such a thing here." "Philip, what on earth are you doing? This is not acceptable." "Indeed it isn't," boomed a familiar voice. Sir Topham Hatt strode up to Philip. "How could you, Philip? These engines have not been here a day, and you're already pushing them off the rails. What makes you think you have the right to do that?" "Because Jinty and Pug framed Hunter for an action both were responsible for." Jinty and Pug looked at Hunter, who was looking ashamed. "Hunter, what happened?" Hunter told him everything. The history, the accident, and the grudge. Jinty and Pug felt terrible. "You know, we do feel quite ashamed too, sir. Both of us were saved from the scrapyard, and while there, I thought about how silly it was to blame a whole accident on one engine. And because of that, I lost a dear friend by taking sides. I'm sorry, Hunter." "And I am too, Hunter. I'm sorry if you felt angry. I was young and naive, so I didn't really know better. And I'm sorry for saying terrible things about the LMS. Can we be friends, please?" Jinty and Pug smiled and agreed. "And Philip, I think you have something to say too." "I'm sorry for pushing you off the rails, Jinty." "Thank you, Philip. I accept your apology too." Philip bought the breakdown train to Jinty's aid, and soon enough he was working in the yard. The yard runs smoothly now, and the 4 engines are very happy working together. Sodor was once again busy. Engines alike were delivering goods to passengers, and it was getting too much for them. Sir Topham Hatt had bought a new engine to help with the job. However, it was a diesel engine, who had had some past with the engines. There were no other spare engines available, so we bought him in. The engines were getting ready for the day when they heard a familiar horn. Out from the shadows came a bright blue diesel engine. He purred quietly up to the turntable. "Everyone, I would like you to meet Ronald," said Sir Topham Hatt. "I know some of you might have some past with him, but he is willing to work. Henry, you will double-head your first train with him so he can get used to the line." Henry didn't want to do so, but didn't protest. As Henry was watching the diesel back down, he noticed something. He wasn't complaining, nor was being fussy. Henry realized maybe something was up with him. As they continued on the journey, he still was quiet. Henry decided to ask him if something was up when they reached Wellswood Fields.
Excuse me, Ronald, isn't it?
Yes.
You seem upset. What's the matter?
Well, I don't know how the other engines will react to me. I've had a past with some of them, but I don't know what they'll think of me now.
Don't worry about it, said Henry. I know that engines can let go of their past. You just need to express how you feel.
But another thing I'm afraid of is how the diesels will react to my kind sort of steam engines. They have been brainwashed into thinking steam engines are very bad and are the worst engines in existence.
Your opinions matter, said Henry. Tell those diesel engines that it's what you think and that they can't change it. Also, I have a question for you. Why were you brought here?
I was going to be scrapped. They're replacing many diesel engines with electric ones, and I was taken off passenger duties. Soon enough, British Rails had no use for me, and they sent me for scrap. I realised what you go through, and all the thoughts of scrap and being cold and alone. That's how I felt, until your controller saved me. I'm grateful for him for giving me a new lease on life, and I want to show the other engines too.
I see. We could talk to the other engines at the sheds tonight.
This made Ronald feel better. Later that night, Henry and Ronald returned to the sheds. The engines were silent. Ronald then spoke up.
Everyone at this shed that hates me? I'm sorry. You don't have to accept my apology, but it would be greatly appreciated. I also can't really say anything else, other than I'm sorry.
The engines looked at each other and smiled. I forgive you. Me too. Me three. Henry winked at him.
We'll practice with the other diesels on the mainland tomorrow.
The next morning, Henry and Ronald were waiting at a signal on the other railway when a diesel that both engines knew pulled up alongside.
Well, a clean engine, but not a sensible one.
Hey man, back off him!
Back off yourself, spam can. Those stupid steam engines are brainwashing you into thinking you're good, but really, they want to scrap you.
Are you serious? Do you even think before you speak? Listen to you. You're saying that we will scrap diesel engines? You should be ashamed of yourself, scaring the living soul out of this poor engine. You shouldn't be allowed here or to run on rails. I suggest once that signal changes, you get going quickly.
The diesel was speechless and did just what the green engine told him. Ronald was very surprised.
Henry, how did you...
Some engines have a breaking point. The diesel was being very rude to you, something you don't deserve.
Thank you, Henry.
And a tear came down the big diesel's eye. Henry knew the diesel he knew years ago had changed for the better. Now Ronald works on Sir Topham Hatt's railway, and he runs passenger trains and goods trains throughout the island. He is very happy. He is very glad that he has Henry as a friend. Ivo Hugh had just been built, and was introduced to the railway in great fashion. Because of how new he was, he needed some help. Mr. Percival decided Rheneas could help Ivo Hugh getting to know the railway. Ivo was very excited. I can't wait to work! Now, Ivo, you need to get ready for work first. Fill up with plenty of coal and water, and then get our coaches. And make sure to buffle up nicely. The coaches don't like being bumped about. Alright. The first few miles of the journey went fine. However, as they progressed along the line, Ivo began to bore of Rheneas' advice. Look at the track, not the view. Alright, I know. They came to a part where the lines went down a hill. This line is very common for engines to be able to be runaways. If you ever see an engine like this, use your brakes to slow them down. Ivo didn't respond. Are you even listening? Yeah, I am. Ivo had had enough at the end of the day. That evening, Ivo Hugh backed down into the works. Rheneas had gone to the shed, and because he had had enough of the gallant old engine, he decided to sleep at the works with Duncan. Rheneas won't stop telling me what to do. It's getting annoying. Then if you want, you can get up early in the morning and take the train before he wakes up. Now be quiet and go to sleep. Duncan only meant this so he could get some peace and quiet, but Ivo Hugh took it another way. I'll do just that. The next morning, Ivo Hugh's driver came early to help start him. Driver, we need to go and get the coaches. Percival's told me that we have to have a much more earlier start than usual. If you say so, said his driver, but we need more coal. Don't worry, I have enough. We just need to get to the station. All right then. So Ivo Hugh collected his coaches and started to puff along the line. I'll fill up on coal and water later, he thought. However, Ivo Hugh didn't have that much time to be able to stop for coal and water. As he continued on the journey, he started to go slower and slower, and the train became heavier and heavier. You're about to run out of coal, and you're almost empty on water. We'll have to stop and call for help. So, out in what seemed like the middle of nowhere, Ivo Hugh stopped. Rheneas came to help him. I told you before you need to leave the shed, you need to fill up on coal, but you didn't listen. I hope you're happy about yourself. Soon Rheneas arrived at the last station, where he continued the journey. Ivo Hugh was put into a siding where he filled up on more coal. He definitely felt silly. He puffed back to the works' light engine. Mr. Percival will never understand. I'll be in so much trouble. But that wasn't the only thing he had to worry about. He heard a loud whistle. Right behind him, Rheneas was racing down the line. Ivo, look out! Ivo Hugh felt the sudden jolt when Rheneas bumped into him. He was taken quite by surprise. The coaches are too heavy! I can't stop them on my own! Ivo Hugh didn't know what to do. He thought, and then he remembered Rheneas' advice. If you ever see an engine like this, use your brakes to slow them down. Ivo Hugh slammed his brakes on and felt the weight against the surging coaches. We're slowing! Finally, Ivo Hugh had slowed the train down. Whew! Thank you, Ivo, and it seems you've learnt your lesson. I have, and I'm sorry for not listening. I promise I will do better. When they made the mainline connection, Ivo Hugh brought Rheneas to the works to have him be checked over. As he did, Mr. Percival strode up to him. While your actions today haven't been good, you've redeemed yourself today by saving Rheneas from being in much worse danger. I think you're a really useful engine. Oh, thank you, sir, said Ivo Hugh. Ronald was having a great time on the island of Sodor. He was friends with almost everyone, and was glad to be the engine that he is. However, he is teased by the diesels on the other railway when he takes goods trains there and back because of his views on steam engines, including a diesel numbered D261, a diesel who had visited Sodor once before and had made a fool out of himself. However, that changed one morning. One day, Ronald was waiting at the sheds to start work. He was talking with his friends when they heard a horn.
I know that horn.
A big green diesel quickly rolled onto the turntable and backed into a berth in the shed. His paint was worn and a worried look on his face.
Class 40, what are you doing here?
You were right, 199. They will scrap us diesels. I was going to be scrapped today, but I escaped. Please, let me live. Please, I'm sorry.
I don't know, but I'll see what I can do.
Maybe I can help, said a familiar voice. It was Sir Topham Hatt.
Please, sir, let me live. I know you'll send me away, and when I do, I'll be scrapped on the spot. Please, I'm not liked over there anymore.
I'm not very sure about that, Class 40. Last time you were on my railway, you made quite the impression.
I've changed, Sir Topham. Please, I'll do anything to be able to live on your fine railway.
Anything you say?
Please, sir, I know what he's talking about. The environment isn't safe for some of us diesels. I told you this when I was rescued. At least give them a small chance.
Very well, decided Sir Topham Hatt. But if you show that you are not capable of handling the work on my railway, I will have no choice but to send you back to the other railway.
Oh, thank you, sir. I won't let you down.
D261's first task was to take the express because Gordon was in the works having a yearly checkover.
Finally, I'm back to pulling the express again.
He did a wonderful job. The passengers sang his praises, and he was right on time at every station. Gordon was quite impressed to hear this when he got back. I say, if I can't take the express, I could trust you well. D261 was very happy. Over the next couple of days, he worked on the railway and did jobs with no fuss. Sir Topham Hatt noticed this and began to think. One morning, D261 had to take a goods train to Province Gate. He prepared his own train with no fuss. Hunter came alongside. Thanks for your help, man. It really helps me out with getting the trains ready. No worries. Now get back to Sunday before the yard becomes a mess. And once again, D261 left the station. The trucks wanted mischief.
He thinks he's so important, going around and shunting us.
We'll show how unimportant he is to Sir Topham Hatt. Then this big bumbling diesel will be gone in no time. The trucks giggled and began to scheme. D261 was doing well. He was having a fine time, but was unaware about what was going to happen. Now, the trucks surged forward, making the big diesel go faster.
What? Slow down, you lot!
But this wasn't his only worry. A steep bend was up ahead. It was the same curve James had had his first accident on his first day. Class 40 had to slow down for the curve, but the truck's mad rush wasn't helping.
It's much too late!
He shouted and raced. When the dust settled, D261 and the trucks were in a mess. The big diesel looked down at his buffers.
I've done it now.
Soon, Ronald arrived with the breakdown train, with Sir Topham Hatt. As you know, this accident puts you in a predicament, D261, said Sir Topham Hatt.
Yes, sir. I'll be sent away, won't I?
About that, your attitude and good performance has shown that you are a great addition to my railway. This accident is just a minor fault for your record. That's why, after you've been repaired, you will become a permanent member of my railway. Class 40 was very pleased.
Oh, thank you, sir.
However, you're not a Sodor engine unless you have a name. Is that one you'd like to have?
The diesel thought.
I've always thought Regaby was a nice name.
Well then, welcome to Sodor, Regaby.
Once Regaby was prepared, he was back to pulling trains. He is now very grateful to be a member of Sir Topham Hatt's railway.
Winter had arrived in the island of Sodor. The quarry on Thomas's branch line was getting its last orders ready before they closed operations for the winter. However, the quarry's turntable had frozen, and their solution was questionable to the engines, to say the least. Going backwards? How is that supposed to benefit anything? At least we can still take our cars. But Toby, don't you think it's a bit odd? We can't even see the line ahead of us. Well, if you were a smart rail car like me, you wouldn't have to worry, because I don't pull cars. We've been overworked recently. You might have to do something, Daisy. Before Percy could receive a reply, Daisy swanked away. Sometimes she can be a real pain. However, Mavis's engine froze one morning. She usually did the runs down at Farquhar. Because it wouldn't start, another engine had to be called. The only one available was Daisy. She grumbled furiously about it. Me? I shouldn't be treated like this. Calm down, Daisy. Mavis will soon be repaired. You just need to do the runs while you're not pulling passengers. But Daisy didn't want to pull cars. But she did what she was told, and she headed to the quarry. When she arrived, Mavis started to chuckle. At least you're not wearing a snowplow. You look very silly in that. I guess I should be happy about that. When she found out she would be pushing the train backwards, she was most annoyed. This is dreadful. My swerves will... Enough about your swerves, yelled her driver. The sooner you get going, the sooner this job will be over. The guard did an excellent job to make sure the train made it through. The train arrived at the station on time. Daisy was glad when it was over. Thank goodness. For the next few days, Daisy pushed the trucks down the line, and sometimes helped arrange them for Toby. She dreaded it the entire time, and her complaining got worse and worse. One morning, Daisy made her usual run up to the quarry. She wasn't happy as usual. The trucks were tired of her constant complaining, and wanted to get even.
What if we loosen our coupling?
Down the hill?
Yeah, that sounds right. Let's do it.
The trucks laughed, and it annoyed Daisy. Come on, driver. Let's get this over with. The line Daisy takes is very dangerous. There are many sharp curves and many small gradients. When they got to one of these small gradients, the trucks started their mischief.
Hold back! Hold back!
The coupling then snapped, and the trucks began to go faster. Daisy, wanting to catch up, hurried down the line. Quickly, driver! They may hurt someone! Daisy knew this was no time for complaining, and raced faster. She forgot, however, how steep the curves were along the line. Somehow, the trucks made it through, but Daisy wasn't so lucky. She raced around the curve and plowed the snow as she fell onto her side. Daisy sat in the cold snow. There's no luck in getting help, girl. We'll just be stuck here until someone notices. Bother, said Daisy, who now felt very foolish. Meanwhile, Toby was at the top station, and he saw the stone come in with no engine. Where's Daisy, you lot? We don't know. Toby went up the line to look. He soon found out what had happened. Are you all right, Daisy? Yes, I'm fine, just a bit shaken. Stay there. I'll get the breakdown train. As if I've got nothing better to do. Soon enough, Daisy was being lifted back onto the rails, and Sir Topham Hatt came to speak with her. Many people and engines have told me you have had a bad attitude recently. I am not very pleased with this behavior, Daisy. You should know your bad attitude rolls off on others, and sometimes leads to accidents like this. If you have a positive attitude, this could have been prevented. I hope you can treat all of your co-workers. I hope this accident teaches you to have a much more positive attitude from now on. Yes, sir, moped Daisy. I know, sir. And she made sure to keep that positive attitude. Charlotte Railway was getting ready for Christmas. The engines were being put on more trains than usual. As soon as they got back with one, they had to go with another. Of course, someone wasn't too happy about this.
All this extra work, it's making me wheels wobble.
Duke was especially happy. Christmas was always his favorite time of the year because it was the time he could spend with his friends. He was very excited for this year, as the Christmas party was to be bigger than ever. One day, Duke was taking a goods train to the village in the mountains. He began to climb the hill that led to the village. He was finding it very hard every year with his old age. Come on! Come on! His wheels were slipping on the icy rails, his sand was dropping, and his axles ached. And then there was a loud snap, and Duke rolled down the hill.
Oh no!
There was worse to come. Rusty was coming up the same line to come and see if Duke needed help. Then there was trouble.
Duke, look out!
When the dust settled, Duke and Rusty were on their sides. I'm so sorry, Rusty. I tried to get up the hill and I couldn't, and then I just rolled back down. It's all right. I hope the damage isn't too serious. However, he spoke too soon. The two engines were rescued and brought to the works. Rusty wasn't that bad. All he had were a few dents. The workmen were also sure that Duke could be repaired before Christmas, but before they knew it, there was some problems. Well, it turns out the parts will only be available after Christmas because it's currently very dangerous to move ships around the ocean. It means you won't be in service for a while. Duke was heartbroken. The others were too. They wished Duke could be happy and be able to celebrate with them. They all wondered how to make him happy. How about we take him somewhere he likes? Or maybe we get him something he likes. I think he just needs company. Those are all very good ideas. We could maybe combine them somehow. I think I've got it! And all the engines listened. Meanwhile, Edward was having his side rods replaced, as they weren't in good condition. He was able to speak to Duke during his visit. Hello, Duke. What's happened to you? It's bad, Edward. I've had a serious accident and now I need new parts, which won't arrive until it's safe for ships to sail again. Goodness me, I'm so sorry. Worst of all, I don't get to go to the Christmas party this year because of it. Well, don't dash your hopes yet. I promise you, those engines you work with are clever. They'll think of something. Have you had at least any visitors? No, we've been rushed off our wheels with work recently. It's probably going to get worse. So, am I basically your first? Rusty kept me company for one night, but that was about it. I see. Edward hoped things would improve for Duke. The next morning, as Duke opened a sleepy eye, he saw a small tree being placed. He saw Rheneas next to it. Rheneas? What's that there for? Wait and see. Duke was alone for the rest of the day. Everyone was very busy getting home and finishing up their work. When it reached night, it was cold and windy. Duke, still lonely, gave up. Edward was wrong. Those engines gave me nothing. Well, happy Christmas, Duke. Just then, he heard a chorus of whistles. All the narrowgauge engines puffed into the wrecks. Guys, what are you doing? Are you supposed to be at the Christmas party? We couldn't leave our own Duke behind, so we moved the party here. Duke was very pleased. Thank you, all of you. I'm pleased to have friends like you. You guys are the reason why Christmases are always special. The engines partied the night away.